Senator Seiveright.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Just before I get into my very brief presentation, I really shouldn't do beyond 14, 15 minutes. Just to clarify, because my friend and colleague, Senator Crawford, spoke on the record, and I need to ensure Hansard, that it's clear in Hansard, that he did in fact send a tweet out about shelling down a club in London on August 7, 2012. And I have the copy of the tweet here, but I'm not going to name the persons in the tweet, a number of whom are my friends, but I'll name Sharon Burke, who is our mutual friend, who was there. You said, you know, we are shelled down a club at London. And the context at the time was it was the London Olympics 2012, and there was a feeling that if we're spending over £1 million sterling, which is what was spent, over £1 million sterling, was there a clear marketing plan in place to ensure that we derived maximum benefit from that visit to London? And I know that Minister McNeil was the official representative of the government of Jamaica, and I know you were participating in some CARI Forum activities at the time and so on. But at the same time, Minister McNeil had said at the time, I was in opposition at the time, of course, and I recall it quite vividly. Minister McNeil had said, hey, you know, you also were, you know, assisting with the entertainers and so on, which is important. But over £1 million spent on that escapade in London in 2012 of taxpayers' money.
What?
Another point I have to highlight, and I'm sorry the students aren't here, is that there's an issue called historical negationism, which is essentially sort of like the falsification and distortion of reality. And your presentation, the presentation was loaded with it. And like how we're into history and we're going back into the 70s, I'll go back to 1933, the chief propaganda minister of Adolf Hitler, Joseph Goebbels, was really a pioneer when it comes to historical negationism. So it's just important that the people understand the importance of always understanding the truth and doing research and ensuring they get the facts and they're not confused with a 2-hour-plus presentation that honestly is so contorted. It really defies even trying to respond. But I'll leave that there. But let me just get into the substantive presentation. And thank you, Senator Allen, for your kind words and our continued collaborative approach to tourism issues in Jamaica. Now, Mr. President, I rise today in strong support of the 25-26 Appropriations Act, expertly delivered by the Honourable Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honourable Favour Williams, and powerfully reinforced by the strategic leadership of our Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Michael Holness. The budget is a clear signal of responsible governance, a people-focused, growth-driven, and investment-ready blueprint for national development. And despite the trials of 2024, yes, Hurricane Beryl, yes, Tropical Storm Raphael, Jamaica's economy stood resilient. And through prudent, strategic, and consistent fiscal management, we're now firmly back on a growth path. So real GDP growth is projected to come to 2.2% in the coming fiscal year. We have net international reserves of $5.5 billion, one of the strongest financial buffers ever in our country's history. Our unemployment rate stands at 3.5%, the lowest ever. Our debt to GDP ratio has fallen to 68.7% and on track to 63.7% next year. A monumental shift from the 135% peak we're at in 2013. And inflation remains within target, with food prices beginning to stabilize, and you can feel it in the economy that a calm is coming back. Now, Fitch Ratings has reaffirmed Jamaica's BB minus credit ratings with a positive outlook, recognizing our strong governance and sound fiscal trajectory. So this gives investors real confidence, confidence to build, confidence to expand, confidence to invest in Jamaica. But really, Mr. President, this budget puts people first, and that's the truth. This is not just an economic plan, it is a social compact with the Jamaican people. It is designed to ease pressure on households, expand opportunity, and leave more money in the pockets of each and every Jamaican. That's it. And Minister Johnson Smith went through some of it. I mean, the minimum wage has been increased from $6,200 in 2016, and it's going to be $16,000 per week soon. 158% increase, 3 times the rate of cumulative inflation over the years. That is putting people first. The income tax threshold going to $2 million, up from $592,000 in 2016. More than tripling where we were, or tripling where we were. The reverse income tax credit, and there's a lot of people benefited from this, $20,000 each to hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans. The government literally gave back $11 billion, or giving back $11 billion to the people. We look at the GCT and electricity bills at households. We're going to cut that in half by May 1. Again, putting back money in people's pockets. Then we have a program, and there's so many, because you can't even go into it. You have a $1 billion program that will support wiring for prepaid meters at houses alongside a $4,000 monthly credit for 20,000 prepaid JPS customers. That's helping people. That's putting people first. So, Mr. President, this is real life, real relief for real people. This is what it means to be people-centered in policy and practice. Money for everyone. Mikey, Marie, Dwayne, Sheila, everybody getting back money in their pocket. And that is the truth. Now, Mr. President, tourism is thriving. It is. And reaching more Jamaicans than ever. And I listened to the presentation of Senator Allen. It remains a powerful engine for economic growth, thanks to strategic planning, public-private partnerships, and a relentless focus on innovation. In 2024, Jamaica welcomed 4.1 million visitors, generating $4.3 billion US overall in earnings. And that's a year when we had Hurricane Beryl, Tropical Storm Raphael. We still have the Boeing crisis. Many airlines are still struggling to get enough planes to service all their destinations. We have a very hotly contested US election that I can tell you was a distraction for months and dominated the screens of the United States. And of course, inflation, extreme weather events, but we still did phenomenally well, relatively flat, but 4.1 million visitors overall. And Mr. President, yes, it is not just about numbers. This is about transformation through investment, employment, and empowerment. Well, major developments last year, Princess opened 1,000 new rooms, and another 1,000 are on the way. And those rooms were opened, by the way, late last year, October, November. Rio Palace in Trelawney, 753 rooms, opened in the middle of last year too. And we have, in May, and we had many more hotels that are coming along. We have the new Grand Palladium Resorts, Unico Resort, Hard Rock, Moon Palace, Secrets in St. Anne, coming to St. Anne, and Royalton coming to St. Anne, Mega Plan Bahia, Principe, and I could go on and on. But what this represents, what this represents, and we should do graphs, thousands of new rooms, thousands of new jobs, countless opportunities for businesses big and small, from the ground transportation operators to the farmers to the suppliers like CPJ and Red Stripe. Money all around in our economy because of these developments. But I want to point, Mr. President, perhaps to what I think is a most exciting transformation in our towns and communities, and that's the Airbnb revolution. In 2017, Jamaica welcomed 59,500 Airbnb guests. 59,500 Airbnb guests. And that year we actually went to, myself, Minister Bartlett and the team went to Airbnb headquarters in San Francisco to meet with the executive leadership team there. And they were saying that they think Jamaica is going to grow and skyrocket. Last year, Jamaica welcomed nearly 840,000 Airbnb guests. 1,300% increase in Airbnb guests. And that's bringing in over, and that's local and international visitors for full clarification. But that's bringing in over $32 billion in revenue into the pockets of Airbnb operators and owners. So what we're seeing is the democratization of tourism from Trenchtown, where you have Airbnb facilities, to Treasure Beach, where you have Airbnb facilities, to Portland, where Mr. Crawford knows you have many Airbnb facilities, to Negril, where we have Airbnb facilities. Everyday Jamaicans are opening their doors, their culture, and their talents to the world, and earning income. And see that picture there with tourists in flankers. It is an amazing situation. This, Mr. President, when you see tourists walking up and down in flankers, it's community tourism in action. It's not just talk, it's in action. So, Mr. President, while we're investing in our people and creative potential, we cannot speak of sustainable tourism without speaking of the people who make it happen, the workers, the creatives, the innovators. You know, we have to highlight. We implemented, brainchild of Minister Bartlett and the team, the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, a global first. And now we have over 10,000 contributors signed up and $4 billion Jamaican dollars in investment under the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, and it still don't reach anywhere. We did that. In 2024, last year, we launched the Entertainers and Creatives Insurance Plan that ensures our cultural icons, and Minister Johnson Smith spoke to this, are protected. And just yesterday, we launched the Tourism Entertainment Academy under the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Minister Bartlett and Minister Grange launched the Tourism Entertainment Academy, which falls under the Tourism Enhancement Fund, which is providing training, Mr. President, mentorship, Mr. President, and industry linkages to performers, to creatives, and to cultural entrepreneurs. Mr. President, this is not just talk. This is concrete, budget-backed actions that give Jamaicans tools to build a future in the world's most dynamic industry. And just to point out, in light of the fact that my leg was pulled, in the linkages space, and I want us to focus now on the micro and small level. I'm not going to talk about the big boys. But our speed networking initiatives has pumped $1 billion into the economy over the last several years. And that's for micro and small players, connecting them with the hoteliers. Then we also have, and there will be more growth. We also have agri-linkages exchange. We set up a platform with RADA. We came together, and we have 2,000 small farmers registered on our agri-linkages exchange. And last year alone, just last year, for these 2,000 farmers, small farmers, $450 million in sales for 4.5 million kilograms of produce. And that's just one piece of the chain, one piece, because many of these farmers have their own arrangements with hotels and so on. And beyond that, our partnership with Exim Bank, the Tourism Enhancement Fund has an excellent partnership with Exim Bank because we want to teach people how to fish. We want to teach them how to grow their business and, do well. $1.93 billion in loans to small and medium tourism enterprises last year alone, benefiting over 300 entrepreneurs, including people probably known by you, my good friend, Senator Allen. And I can go on and on. Mr. President, let us celebrate progress. Let's not tear it down. Far too often in this country, and there's a reason why I use the word progress on here, Sir Floyd. Too often in this country, we allow negativity, and forgive me, but bad mind, to cloud our collective vision. We downplay achievements, we distort the truth, and we dismiss progress. And I'm using that word deliberately. Mr. President, let us rise above that. Let us acknowledge, for example, the massive reduction in murders and serious crimes in the country. which is giving a resurgence of hope in many communities. Now let's look at our airlift strategy. Let's touch quickly on our airlift strategy, because a part of that airlift strategy really is to diversify the sources of our tourists. We can't continue to rely on the United States and Canada for everything. It's just the truth. So let me be unequivocal. On March 26, 2025, the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority published an application from Emirates Airline for a scheduled weekly service from Dubai to Montego Bay via Frankfurt, Germany, effective April 10, 2025. This is a legitimate, licensed airlift initiative by Emirates, with the Frankfurt-Montego Bay leg operated via Condor under code-share arrangements. So we'll settle that. Mr. President, some may seek to politicize and distort, but facts matter. And the facts show that Jamaica is being connected to the world like never before. Just last year, I don't want to go into a long presentation. American Airlines launched its first ever commercial flight to the Ian Fleming International Airport in St. Mary. And not only did they launch a flight, they're now moving up to daily service between Miami and Ian Fleming Airport in St. Mary. A game changer. We have United Airlines telling us last year in our meetings with their executives that Jamaica-bound flights have increased 50% since 2019. That's United Airlines, one of the largest carriers in the world. We have Avelo Airlines, which is a new American airline. It's set up in around, I think, 2021. They started their first international non-stop flight. You know which route? Hartford, Connecticut, and Montego Bay, Jamaica. The first international route by this relatively new American carrier. Then we have LATAM Airlines, which resumed non-stop flights between Lima, Peru, and Montego Bay, Jamaica. And the flights are operated at 85% load factors. And we are visa-free, and also it connects you with Brazil, it connects you with Argentina, it connects you with Chile, Bolivia, the whole works. And they know, our team is actually in South America as we speak, and they know having discussions with them about increasing services from 3 flights per week to possibly daily service. And there are 2 more. Let me highlight 2 more. World to Fly. World to Fly is going to commence, and the flights are already basically sold out, by the way. Non-stop flights between Lisbon, Portugal, and Montego Bay, Jamaica, starting June of this year. And already, at early March, the flights were at 60% sold. And then, let's not forget our partners, Sir Damien, because you are a UE man. Let's not forget our partners in the region, the Caribbean. They're right there. So Bahamas here now having non-stop flights between Montego Bay and Nassau, Bahamas. We did that. Inter-Caribbean has flights between Kingston and Barbados. Liat has restarted services between Antigua and Jamaica. I mean, we are making progress on many fronts, and we expect more growth in the years to come. So these are flights. These are flights, not fiction. These are results, not rhetoric. And every new route means new visitors, new revenue, new jobs. Full stop. So, Mr. President, we're building a foundation for the future. And my other colleagues, I'm sure, will comment on the capital expenditure in terms of the Spanish Town Hospital, the upgrading of schools, agricultural infrastructure, the upgrades to transportation, the national identification system, and we can go on and on. So in closing, Mr. President, this budget is not only sound in numbers. It is rich in vision, firm in principle, and bold in execution. So let us not be distracted by noise. Let us not allow the critics to dim the light of progress, and I keep using that word deliberately. Let us rise together. Let us rise together and declare that Jamaica is moving forward with sound leadership, social focus, and strategic investment. I am proud to support this budget, Mr. President, and I thank you.